T. Us man are too sweet. Brady, DVP, the BDElite. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet. Brady, DVP, the BDElite.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for BDElite. We are live on Twitch.
.tv/upNXT podcast. Yes, hello, Twitch room. How are you?
Wow, we just did a Briggs and Jensen, or I guess you could say Kings of the Night's Throne, Black Throne. Fuck,
Spooky tattoo wankers.
We'll get to them. Yeah, obviously, if you listen to hear us on UpNXT, we love Briggs and Jensen. And it seems that a popular tag team now in AEW has stolen their...
They just steal everything, don't they? Still
we'll talk about
Undisputed
it.
Era.
We'll talk about it.
Still Briggs
it's
and
okay.
Jensen. Still everything.
It's okay because we're on the roads to Revolution. That's what we're on the road to. Yeah, we're here to talk all about some Dynamite from March 2nd, 2022, and some crazy stuff. Of course, you can go check out all the stuff from NXT 2.0 and stuff from last night on UpNXT, but some big news from this episode of Dynamite. I mean, the landscape of professional wrestling has changed forever.
Yeah.
Has it?
Tony Khan has been teasing this big announcement and actually came out to deliver the news that AEW, Tony Khan has acquired Ring of Honor. So yeah, thoughts on this was one of the things kind of being rumored around. There was rumors today of like some HBO Max deal that wasn't mentioned at all. But yeah, Ring of Honor being purchased. Obviously, a lot of stuff going on with them, with kind of taking the first quarter of the year off and coming back with Supercard of Honor. And no, I think this is pretty cool. Really, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we kind of knew something was going on with Ring of Honor. People wondering, hey, are they gonna do talent things? Is he gonna kind of take over? When the Ring of Honor story kind of came out, people were like, oh, I wonder if he would buy Ring of Honor or the library, the tape library. And now it seems he gets that. In that statement he put out on Twitter, TK is saying, yeah, I'm gonna have everything, the product, all the stuff that comes with it, the tape library. I think that is where people, I mean, even watching today, I noticed a lot of kind of almost nods to Ring of Honor, not just in the first thing that we'll get into, but yeah. So going forward, like he's just going to have, I feel like there's got to be some app. Was it literally last week where I was like, hey, it's hard to find their stuff to watch. And I feel like that's exactly it. So why not have like an app or something that you can put like all their stuff on, so maybe it would go to like an HBO Max or something of that sort, kind of like how WWE is now like a sub page on Peacock. I'm in Canada, so we use the network still. WWE Network. It's not on a Peacock or anything, but we have all sorts of different streaming services. So I'm wondering if that's a thing, if there's like a little tab there where you click and then you access this world of wrestling.
I mean, I think that's definitely got to be the goal, and I think that would be way more beneficial to them than just creating their own app to watch this all. I think getting on like a HBO or a Amazon or a Disney or one of those is going to be so much better for your business, because you're going to get more people stumbling upon it.
But like, and is that just easy to say though? Is that like something that's probably really hard to do, to just be like, hey, HBO, why not let people watch Sopranos and Succession, and then you
network
Ring of Honor,
isn't it? So like, I don't know what Turner. I'm not sure what their kind of streaming thing is, if they've got one or not. But no, I mean, obviously it's a big deal that they'll have to figure out at some point. But I think that's going to be the end goal, and obviously acquiring a Ring of Honor and that tape library is going to look more attractive when trying to sell it. When you've got all this like hours and hours of extra footage. I like it as well because it's kind of like AEW, Tony Khan now can kind of tell the story of modern wrestling, from like 2002 onwards. Whereas you've got WWE who tell the story of, WCW and WWF and all that through to today. Like it's the other side of it all. You've got the indies, like ROH was the indies for so long. It was the thing, and now they own All In, which was kind of the thing that kicked all of this off. They've got the rights for All
That's
In.
it. That's a big thing. Yeah, they own the rights to that show, which Ring of Honor was like heavily like involved with. So now TK can replay that show, put it on an app somewhere, and and what a great show that is too. But yeah, just it's interesting. So it's like I hope things kind of change but stay the same. It sounds as if I'm seeing some reports that they're saying that people are saying that it's going to be some sort of like developmental to AEW. So maybe sort of like their version of what an NXT would be or something.
Yeah, I mean, when you think of an example would be the kind of puzzling news at the time of Brian Cage extending his contract by a year. And he's someone we haven't seen for a long time. Well, if you've got this whole other thing now in ROH, it could be a thing where some of this kind of bloated roster, people we aren't seeing so much, could be on the sort of ROH brand, if you know what I mean. And it's not to say you can't flip and flop at all, but I think you can. He's probably got a thought of building up his own like ROH roster, and that would explain someone like a Brian Cage who, if you're looking at the tweets and things like that, maybe seemed a bit dissatisfied with his time in AEW, or at least just we haven't seen him for ages, and then signing on for an extra year seems odd. It makes the thought of when more releases, say like a Cesaro happens, where you go, well, now there's actually more places for you to go, and I think it's great. And
I wanted to talk about Cesaro yesterday, and I knew I was forgetting something. And as soon as we recorded, I was like, we didn't talk about that. So we'll definitely mention that as well. But now I think that's a sure shot. We're gonna get the whole back at like I when I got into wrestling, I got the Fight Network here in Canada, and they had a Ring of Honor like replay shows where they just like would replay their whole like tape library essentially all the time. So what I would do is PVR everything and would watch all the time. And I was a big fan, but that's like some indie stuff. And to kind of make stuff revolved around sort of stuff that not everybody saw is like a kind of a few steps backwards. But I think what they're doing is doing both. Like he is going to use that tape library. He is going to let people relive some of the stuff that people didn't get to see the first time around, and revisit some of these people who are huge stars now that they had in the Ring of Honor years. But now, like, you're going to make this also a show. You're going to put this on TV, other affiliates, or is Turner going to pick this up? Is it going to be the new Dark or Elevation? Like, there's a lot that you could go with it, considering you own like everything about like, how does that happen? What's Supercard of Honor? What's that going to be like?
I'm not really sure. I've not looked into everything about what the Sinclair deal is, because obviously Sinclair, has he bought it from Sinclair, or is it still like one of their properties? Will it still be on their network or what? But yeah, Supercard of Honor now looks like it should be. I would imagine you're going to feature some more AEW talent on that.
It's just, I think it's pretty cool. So like, obviously Vince McMahon is the like our god of professional wrestling. Essentially, he owns everything. He's like the evil corporation man. And now we had this new company kind of come in after all the history of stuff like WCW and ECW, and now he creates his own thing. And now he's bought a property that, like he mentioned, is like 20 years old now. So it's like this guy's now coming in and challenging. Maybe not so much like gonna take over where it's like, this is going to make way more money than WWE, because that will not happen. But like for like the hardcore fans, which there are a lot of, and there are these people that once they kind of get into wrestling, they get into this more deeper, different tastes and different stuff, including indie wrestling and stuff like this. So I feel like it is a good, like a first step to kind of like, hey, look, at least Vince doesn't own this tape library, like it's something different. So I like to see things kind of shaken up, and why not? Wrestling is super popular right now.
I mean, how soon we've got the main event of Revolution is Adam Page Adam Cole.
That's like, 2 Ring of Honor people.
Already right away for the promo package for that, see a bunch of ROH clips kind of showing their history. Like you can use stuff now from ROH, from being the Elite and all that, like to build up this feud. So yeah, there's definitely a lot more things you can draw on now. And just I think what's going to be good for them is just having this developmental, if you will, or just more places for people to wrestle. You know, like it's
exactly, yeah.
It's gonna put more eyes on ROH than it's had for a long time, I think. And now you don't all these released talents where you go, well, what you keep on saying, like we've been saying about the shiny new toys that get like kind of bored and discarded right away. Now you've got a place for all of them. Like it makes sense why he's been acquiring so much talent. So yeah, it's super, super exciting. Like I'm personally, I'm kind of, I'm looking forward to a streaming platform being a thing at some point, but this interests me more because I'm like, oh, cool. Right. I've got to pay another $9.99 a month to get a platform or whatever.
Sure.
You know, like
yeah.
This is more interesting to me.
It's also like if it was the TNA library as well, that's a whole other thing that still Vince doesn't own, but like that's not, you know, it's not related. But again, it's just WWE has so many people that through the years went through Ring of Honor and now are big stars, and they've always used pictures and stuff. But Cesaro being released, Samoa Joe being released, 2 other, Joe's going in that Ring of Honor Hall of Fame thing. So it's like, okay, cool. So I'm sure we're going to see all those familiar faces show up in AEW in the near future. I feel like there's got to be legit some sort of, at this point, brand split. Like use Ring of Honor as a completely different show. Make that where you put like helping guys get over. But there's going to be so much even more wrestling people are going to want to check out. But hey, why not? So
well, I mean, I think you can have them as completely different entities, you know, and then you've got Supercard of Honor every year. That can be your kind of big kind of crossover show if you wanted to do something like that.
Or like
an actual proper brand split where it has a completely different feel and that sort of thing.
Or you get like TK, who's actually now that I own it, like Vince McMahon, I'm just going to bury it. I'm going to kill it. I'm going to make money off the tape library, put it on a thing, but it's done. It's dead. Or we were joking BSK. We were saying that what the name of the contract says, Cody Rhodes and not Tony Khan. So that like he comes back and says that he owns Ring of Honor. There's so many different things you can do. I'm already seeing the memes on Twitter, but like, yeah, I'm interested in seeing where they can go with this thing and see what changes they make in the tape library, as long as they make it more accessible. Like, yeah, for us, we're super nerdy wrestling fans and we do this podcast, but we also do shows on Patreon, and digging back into old stuff is always fun. But whenever we've tried to cover Ring of Honor, it can be pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, even some of their big matches are kind of hard to find.
Yeah. Like their YouTube, some full matches are up on there and stuff, but when we do best match ever, and a lot of the times it was hard for us to do Ring of Honor just because it's hard to find these shows. I remember loving going to Ring of Honor shows and buying the DVDs and stuff. So I mean, now AEW owns those too. That's
going to be, I mean, if there is ever, which I assume at some point there will be some sort of streaming platform, that's a lot of work to know, like clean up some of this stuff. Think of the music you've got that you can't use for entrances and things like that. Or Tony Khan might just be, I'll just buy all the songs.
Just not Final Countdown. He'll never budge on that one. Yeah, but it's super interesting. It's super cool for the wrestling industry. And yeah, Cesaro, man, I want to see him show up. I know I love saying, hey, this guy should be all elite and hang out with his friends, but Cesaro needs to be all elite and hang out with his friends just to have matches with people. I'm not saying push him as the world champion right away. Of course, I feel like in WWE there was a missed opportunity with him, but I just want to see him tie it up with some of these guys now. Like him and Danielson again, him and I think Kingston seems to be the way that things might go. There's just so many things. Like, I just want to see these guys wrestle. And that's the thing. If you're kind of into the real stuff, like if you are into Ring of Honor stuff and you are into some of AEW, then like what's not to be excited about with all these big changes and people kind of exiting from WWE? So Cody can go to WWE and we can have Shane Strickland and Cezar come to AEW and then we're good. And then maybe Jeff Hardy. Sorry, now things are getting crazy again. Too many people. Too many people.
Jeff can stay at home, but the other two.
Yeah. I want to see him at one point. I think he's showing up at the pay-per-view.
He can't.
Someone's got it.
He won't be until Dynamite. Next Dynamite is when he's free.
So there's a big pay-per-view this Sunday, and we'll definitely get into some predictions. But I know you're in the UK right now, and you're going to go to a live like watch along thing for that.
Yeah, I'm going to a bar in Old Street hosted by Hooked on Wrestling. So if you're in the London area, come along. If you've got Monday off, or you can get Monday off, you can pull a sickie. Come and join me at the Hooked on Wrestling event. And just search for Hooked on Wrestling on Facebook, and they've got all the details there, or on Google. That works too.
Yeah, and a reminder, if you are in the Toronto GTA area, we are doing a watch along at Hard Luck Bar in Toronto, Sunday, March 6th for Revolution. Come hang out with some friends. We got food from Sneaky D's, which means you can get the nachos and watch wrestling. And I mean, I don't know what else you could ask for, really, but it's going
Beans
to be
on the side.
Always, yeah. King's Crown nachos, beans
ask
on the
for.
side.
Yeah.
That's some Toronto inside knowledge there. King's Crown nachos, beans on the side.
I like is it the DFA nachos? They're the ones I like. It's with the hot peppers and the avocado. That one's really good.
Yeah, so that's going to be wild. We also have some raffles and some prizes and stuff. So that'll just be fun to hang out and watch wrestling with people again. So can't wait for that. At upNXT podcast for all the details and stuff for that. But there is an Eventbrite for it. We'll jump back into some AEW. I know we also have some shows to promote because we have a Patreon, and it's the beginning of the month, which means if you want to give us a shot, it's only $5 for the North American tier, which means you get access to all the shows. It's like our tape library with everything in there, all the movie reviews, best matches ever, retro pay-per-view reviews, all that. But you get everything that's coming out this month as well. And well, we recorded a show today that's going to come out this week because in honor of someone who maybe they'll show up in AEW soon.
Or Ring of Honor, maybe now.
Whoa! Imagine it's him.
Yeah,
Tim who takes over.
Commissioner of Ring
Sick.
of Honor.
We're talking about
manager. Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about the money. Shane McMahon. Yeah, Shane O'Mac is gone from WWE since that Royal Rumble appearance, and we're all kind of like, what happened? And well, pour one out for Shane O'Mac. So we decided to look back at the best of Shane O'Mac in the Best Match Ever podcast that we do. We are covering all of Shane McMahon. So yeah, we've compiled this like playlists of all his best matches. And wow, I mean, you were the one gunning for this one.
Oh, this is the best match ever we've done. By my
we haven't touched.
It was great. I had a great day today.
You already knew the matches before you even needed to. You're like, oh, I can talk about it.
I gotta say, going into this Dynamite, having watched so many awesome Shane McMahon matches all day,
Shane McMahon.
It kind of made it kind of underwhelming tonight. Like I love my AEW, I love Dynamite, but it's like, you know, going back to economy after you've ridden first class, it's just a bit like, oh man, this is, I mean, it's fine, it's getting me from A to B, but it's not going coast to coast, is it?
Wow. Well, we do talk about Shane O'Mac, and I mean, hey, maybe some of our reviews and ratings of all his best matches will shock you, but that will be out this week. We record that today, and so many other shows. We got a Best Match Ever 205 Live coming out. What did we record yesterday? It feels like it's
Justice League.
Justice League,
already available for patrons, I believe.
Yes,
but
yes, it is.
Will be available for free at the weekend to coincide with the release of The Batman. We're doing it's our final Batman review before the new Robert Pattinson film. And
yeah, we're super excited
about that one soon.
Yeah, we've been doing all these Batman reviews, go through this archive of all the free shows because they're all back there. But this is the final one, Justice League, before The Batman. We will be covering that, but come get Bat Nuts. We do talk a little bit about that movie and our hype for it. Now I got tickets, so I'm excited. But yeah, we'll be talking all about Justice League. That will be on this free feed on I think Saturday is when I'm going to put it up. So go. It's the 2017. I'm already getting heat on Twitter and stuff for not doing the Snyder cut, but maybe one day. But yeah, maybe it's more of a fun review because it's the worst movie. Maybe. Possibly, but we love our Batfleck. So yeah, go check that out. But yeah, patreon.com is where you can go check us out. Patreon.com/upNXT. And for $5, you get so many podcasts. And that's what we do. That's what we do. But quoting Mark Henry, it's time for the main event.
Let's do it.
It's time to talk about some Dynamite. I mean, the big story off the top, of course, is Tony Khan. Right away, he's in the ring with the other Tony. And, well, he's got this big announcement. They're in Jacksonville, by the way. I feel like they're always there, but they're back in Jacksonville. And, well, Tony Khan's got a big announcement, and he says, thank you all for being here. He says, you kept us going through a pandemic, but we're on the road to revolution. I love that he just – that's WWE, such a WWE thing, but he says it too. He says, when we started 3 years ago, it was all out there in that parking lot. So thank you. But did you say 17 years ago is when a company was there named Ring of Honor? And he says he's been a fan of it since the beginning. And I just became the new owner. So yes, he is the new owner of Ring of Honor. And then he mentions that they had an event where the match was Christopher Daniels versus Bryan Danielson. And did he say this was 20 years ago? That's why I got confused about the Ring of Honor stuff.
Last week was the 20-year anniversary of Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor. Okay, yeah 20 years. So he then says this match is now going to happen right now. So out comes Danielson and Christopher Daniels.
Forgetting about Loki's involvement in that first match. But just bring up Danielson and Daniels, who we haven't seen Christopher Daniels on AEW for a long, long time. Since the Bucks match, right? I know he's done his Impact thing and other stuff, but I don't think he's been on AEW since then, or at least wrestling.
He hasn't been for quite a while, so it is kind of like, oh, he's here now, he's back. So Danielson versus Daniels, which is not confusing to say at all. But yeah, Tony Khan's announcement, I liked it. He's always it always reminds me of the 9 days, but this whole promo was spoken like that.
I mean, he's not someone particularly used to public speaking, and he definitely has this like nervous energy, but I do find it really endearing, to be honest. I quite enjoy Tony Khan's performances.
No, I do too. I think I love he's just excited. I don't know if, he's just have too many White Claws or what it is, but Tony Khan's just living the good life. Tony Khan's what I would like if I was some rich guy and I love Ring of Honor, maybe I would buy it too. He's just living out our dream for GM mode in real time, in not a metaverse, but just owning everything. So Daniels versus Danielson. We get the Curry Man pose from Daniels, kind of throwback there, and then eventually sends Danielson to the outside with the Arabian moonsault. There's then a strike fest back in the ring and a series of kicks. Danielson eventually does his backflip into the corner, goes for his flying forearm, but is caught into the blue thunder bomb for a deep cut there. There's then somehow, I don't know if is this normal for Chris Daniels, because Christopher Daniels' eye is like bleeding. Did you see this?
Oh no, it's been like this since that Bucks match. His eye's just been bloodshot the whole He's terrifying. It's scary. He said he can. I saw an interview the other day with him, and he said he can see, like, he's got perfect vision out of it. But yeah, it's pretty ugly looking.
It looks a little scary. So he keeps coming back on the attack. There's the overhead slam in the corner. He goes for it again, and then goes for the moonsault. That's caught, missed, but then goes for it again, and then gets caught after you think he lands the BME, the best moonsault ever, but it's caught into this like triangle, almost like the go-go platter or whatever, but then it's turned into the triangle with the elbows to the head, and Bryan Danielson wins the match.
I mean,
I don't even know how to call the end of Danielson's matches, because it's like, was it a tap out or was it just, no, the guy's, that's it.
I think he just passed out. I think Bryan Danielson had been watching AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon from WrestleMania 33, where AJ does the 450 splash into the triangle. Shane catches him. So clearly Bryan doing his research for
Big
best
fan.
match ever as well, and used it tonight. That's a match we never got. Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon. That would have been pretty good.
The streets needed it, but it didn't happen.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed this. I liked the starting with the Code of Honor and all that. And Christopher Daniels, what is he? 51, I think they said, can still go at a pretty high level. Like, I really enjoyed that Bucks match last year. I thought this was a great way to start the show following the announcement. Bryan Danielson just doesn't miss, as far as I'm concerned. I'll watch him wrestle absolutely anyone. But yeah, good start to the show for me.
Yeah, me too, especially after the big announcement, like kind of processing that. I'm watching this really good match. Actually, I've been a huge fan of Christopher Daniels through TNA and Ring of Honor stuff, but seeing him back here and looking good as well. Of course, Danielson looks good, but he even made Danielson, Danielson. Christopher Daniels looked good, and I thought so. So I thought it was like a good. The last time I remember seeing him was in that Bucks match, and I thought I loved that match too. So
I feel
this was great.
Every Danielson match is like an exhibition. Like it. Do you know what I mean? Like every time you see him, it doesn't matter who. It can be against some like younger guys like Moriarty and Garcia. It can be against a Suzuki. It can be against Daniels. Like. I want to watch it every time. And even if there's zero build, it's as soon as you say, oh, we're getting this match now, that sounds great.
Well, after the match, Danielson grabs a microphone, but Christopher Daniels is just laying in the ring. And Daniel says, wow, Bryan goes 20 years ago. Wow, Ring of Honor. And then he goes, it's all about this one handshake. And then goes to shake the hand of Christopher Daniels, who's still unconscious. So he shakes the limp hand of this guy and then says, like Code of Honor. But this isn't ROH. This is AEW. So I'm going to kick his head in. And then he does that. He repeatedly starts to kick the wrist control thing, and then just the kicks to the face. When Wild Thing hits, Moxley comes out and says that there's only a few different ways that this could go this Sunday on their match, and he could choose to walk another path, but instead he's letting us know that the story of Jon Moxley is just starting, and the first chapter will be written in blood. So they're face to face, and it's almost like they want to fight, but that almost like this weird respect from two crazy men who like to fight people and hurt people are not going to touch each other until Sunday, but definitely got me.
Moxley's ready to fight, and Bryan
Danielson doesn't.
Out.
He doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So we got to pay to see them fight. So that's on Sunday, and I'm super excited for this match.
Oh yeah, I think this is going to be great, and I think we're definitely getting blood in the dog collar match, but it feels like we're promised blood in this one as well. I think it's going to be pretty brutal, this one.
Would you open with this, or is this like, what are you opening with? Because I feel like opening with this or that three-way tag thing would be pretty sweet, but this
I think that tag should be like a buff. Oh yeah, sorry, I thought you meant the 6-man. Yeah, I could see you opening with this. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Be a good
I can't wait. We go to Darby Allin and Sting backstage, and they're talking about the triple threat match, which I wasn't aware of, that is happening on Rampage now, and that there will be fines and suspensions if anyone gets involved. And Sting says he's not worried about that because Darby is going to win. When Darby says, Sammy, this Friday on Rampage, we're going to be enemies in the match, but Sunday we're going to be friends. It's going to be fine. We're going to hang out and it's going to be chill. So yeah, the TNT title match is on Rampage, but the 6-man tag is on the pay-per-view.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if that's... I mean, we've seen the TNT title defended a bunch on pay-per-view, but I wonder if now it's a direction they're trying to go to keep this as like something defended on Rampage. Yeah, it seems a little backwards for sure.
Like we got to pay to see Matt Hardy wrestle with Isaiah Cassidy. And
I mean,
who else is he
teaming? To get Sting on there.
I guess.
But yeah, it definitely does feel backwards because this triple threat definitely feels like it should be on the pay-per-view rather than...
Which sounds great. Yeah, I checked out Sammy versus Andrade, and I thought that was awesome as well. But I almost feel like that could have been the pay-per-view match. This triple threat could have been the pay-per-view match. Add someone else into it to make it a four-way. But yeah, I don't know. I also feel like Darby versus Sammy would be a big match as well. But kind of odd that we're getting the 6-man tag match is definitely like, huh? Okay. Yeah. Well, we go to our next match, which is definitely and hopefully longer than any match on Sunday, because this felt like it was a long match. The Casino Tag Battle Royal, where two teams come out and then there's intervals and another team comes out. And it's kind of like a Royal Rumble, but with tag teams.
Yeah, so they've kind of got rid of the casino element of this, because the casino thing used to be you'd come out in suits, right? You'd have the clubs come out and then the diamonds and then the hearts and then the spades. Whereas this was just Royal Rumble style, every like 90 seconds, a new
this
team.
This makes more sense.
It works better, especially for a tag team, but yeah.
So if you get eliminated, your partner's still in, then they can still win it, is how they go with this. Yeah. So we see FTR starting the match with a returning Darius to team with his brother, Dante Martin, Top Flight. So he's back after like a year?
I think they said over a year. Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, it's cool to see him back. And Top Flight sort of do the flips, and we know how FTR feel about flips, just fists. Out come then the Acclaimed, who of course have to let Max Caster spit some bars here, where he's talking about he talk about you guys must be higher than the kids on Euphoria if you think you're gonna beat us, and then says the people in the ring are less popular than Glenn Jacobs' tweets.
Yeah, I think we mentioned Hangman's shooting down of Mayor Kane yesterday, but topical.
I did laugh at this. Yeah, topical. Let's go with that. Sure. They come in. Bowens hits some sweet super kicks. Dark Order is in next, but it's Allen Angels and 10 who are in. There's a lot going on here, so I'm going to go through the teams. Butcher and the Blade are in next. Varsity Blondes come out next. We see Bear Country during Picture in Picture, and then Proud and Powerful are in there as well. Bear Country get tossed out by Proud and Powerful. They're kind of eliminating and taking control here. At one point, I think they throw Max Caster out when JR is on commentary and says, "There goes Max. He's eliminated. Yo, listen," which got a big laugh from me. Dark Order, meaning Uno and Grayson, come out next. So they're in the ring. They're hitting some of their signature moves here. There's then Butcher, who gets thrown out by Stu pretty early on, but then Stu turns around and gets hit by the Shatter Machine, the big rig from FTR. The Best Friends are out and they're wreaking some havoc, but the Young Bucks music hit. They walk slowly to the ring, and then as soon as they get in the ring, we go to another commercial break here. During that, it looked like the Wingmen come out. I'm watching the version with commercials and picture in picture, but I see the Wingmen have come out, and then when we come back, it's the Gun Club. I love all these themes, by the way. The Wingmen's got a good theme. The Gun Club got a good theme.
I don't really watch Dark, so I haven't heard this one before, but yeah, Wingmen had a great theme.
I don't watch the YouTube show. There's then another big rig, and then the Gun Club all get beat up and thrown out immediately. It was pretty much the 2005 Muhammad Hassan spot. They just get booed, like
they're hated by everyone, by the heels and the baby faces. They're just assholes. So
and the crowd are pretty hot, like for cheering them and ass boys and all that. Out come Shoddy Lee Johnson and Lil Arn Anderson, meaning Brock Anderson, who looks just like his dad. We get a spine buster from Brock Anderson, which looked pretty good. The Bucks throw out the Wingmen. I think Shoddy Lee and Brock are eliminated as well. And then we get 2.0 as the last team. The Wingmen are gone. The Gun Club are gone, I mentioned. The Best Friends, I think, get eliminated. We see Matt Jackson throw out Brock Anderson. We get Top Flight, who eliminate Bowens, who is still in there. I forgot to mention him. When Evil Uno's on the apron and Danhausen curses Trent,
Yeah.
So no, he curses Uno. Sorry,
He curses Uno, so then
he's with Trent. Yeah.
Uno
So
gets
then
eliminated.
Trent hits him with a half and half suplex on the apron. There's then
Well,
two.
JR just hates this Danhausen thing. Like,
It's like he didn't get it.
Excalibur and Shivani are really oh, he's cursed him, and he's just like, oh, for you guys, for heaven's sake, grumpy old JR.
Yo, listen. I need that clip. We get 2.0. They're gone by Proud and Powerful as well. We get Dante, who hits this crazy Rana to Cash and eliminates him. We get reDRagon distracting Dax now, which then gets him eliminated from a super kick from Matt Jackson. So they're kind of helping the Bucks here to eliminate FTR. So when all settles here, we get down to Darius, who's now has to go 1-on-2 with him against the Young Bucks, who are the final teams here. So if Darius wins this, he goes on to Revolution with his brother. But I thought this end sequence was pretty great. He eventually dodges the Bucks and gets Nick goes flying as his brother accidentally kicks him himself. And then the back and forth here was awesome. But then while Darius is on the apron with Nick, with Matt. Matt kicks him in the balls and then hits a super kick and he goes off the apron. Thus, the Young Bucks win the match and are being added to the tag team title triple threat at Revolution. But this was a long match, but I was pretty into it, to be honest. And so was the crowd.
I wasn't really. There was no kind of stakes in this at all. It was very clear the Bucks were going to win right from the beginning. We'd already had one of these last week, and I thought last week was better, like front to back. I thought it was paced better. I thought they had better combinations of people and better spots. This felt like your cast of AEW Dark plus the Bucks and FTR and Santana Ortiz. You know, it just felt like a bunch of. I think last week, because you didn't really know what direction they're going to go in. Like, you go, oh, we could have a singles match, reDRagon and the Bucks, not for the titles, and have maybe a Santana and Ortiz challenge for Jurassic Express. But with reDRagon winning, I think it was very clear the Bucks were going to win this. And this was long, I thought. It didn't really do a whole lot for me. It was cool to see Darius come back. Like, I thought that was great, and I really liked how they gave him the focus at the end, but I can't say this really worked.
I agree that there was a lot of people that I don't usually see because I don't watch Dark and Elevation, because I feel like that is kind of their developmental system, and it's a lot of characters that are these kind of people. But I knew the Bucks were winning, but I thought they did a good job of trying to make Darius go the whole way with this like Iron Man spot. So I did enjoy it. I did like seeing a lot of people that I don't usually see as well, to kind of get a little snapshot of like, okay, especially the Gun Club. I like how they're just unanimously booed everywhere. But I enjoyed this. I really liked the finish. I thought Darius, I was like questioning, like, man, his brother got all the shine this year since you've been gone, and kind of seeing him in this spot was like, oh man, good for you, kid.
I did like that, because Dante does feel like the kind of star of this team, just because of his singles push since Darius has been away. So right. I think it was very smart booking, showcasing him. I agree with that, but I can't say it really made up for the rest of the match for me.
After the match, it's reDRagon like in the ring with the Bucks when Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus and Christian are on the ramp, and they're like kind of like, hey, we'll see you Sunday. So it's kind of like a stare down here. So the three-way tag at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, seeming to be on the same page now. That it's going to maybe be reDRagon and the Bucks teaming up to take out Jurassic Express, so then they can fight for the title. Like, within the sort of triple threat rules, I mean. Like, they're teaming kind of a bit more unity here, the teams.
Right, okay. They were. I was figuring you could do the attack angle even later in the night, but yeah, they didn't do that at all. So maybe it'll be. They did say it'll be a friendly.
In the actual match, it will be like reDRagon and the Bucks teaming up to isolate Jurassic Express to take them out, and then it's like, right, now we can go for the titles, is what I'm imagining.
Yeah, that's true. Because they did say in the past few weeks, like, yeah, friendly rivalry kind of thing. Like, we want to see if we can do it again, beat you or whatever. We get a video promo from Jericho talking about Eddie Kingston and his match this Sunday, and says, Eddie, I already told you, if you get your chance to win the big one, and if you beat me, I'll shake your hand and tell you, you get my respect. But if you don't beat me, well, I'll laugh and tell you GFY. As Proud and Powerful kind of walk in after losing their match, and they kind of look at Jericho. He offers the fist bump. They slowly accept it, but they accept it, and then Jericho laughs.
This is quite. Yeah, he says as they walk off, "I've always got your back."
Yeah,
this is kind of weird. Jericho. This feud, I really liked the stuff last week, but the way Jericho played it this week, I don't know if it's working for me. He was saying about like, when you said your promo last week, sorry, you probably don't know what promo means. I mean, a conversation. Basically, he's treating this as sports entertainment. I think that's what he's trying to get across. He is the WWE sports entertainer, Chris Jericho, in this feud. And he's facing someone who is a fighter and doesn't care about being a star, but wants to just fight and win the title. You know, I see what Jericho's trying to do, but I don't think it's really working. I feel like kind of both him and Eddie maybe have a bit of a different vision on how this feud should go. I thought this diminished the work they did last week, basically. And he was definitely playing it up as even, I think, very deliberate, bringing back the GFY thing, which we all know didn't get over. I think he deliberately brought it back to be like, no, I'm the sports entertainer, the catchphrase Jericho, the star, taking on this real fighter, Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, it was kind of just a quick one. He kind of said the same stuff, and then saying the GFY, he clearly knows that the people were making fun of it, especially how he kind of launched it the same day Mox said it. Like, it was dead on arrival because no one knew that Mox was going to say that, but it's done. But to bring it back here is like, I think it's just a heel. To me, this was a heel promo. I got he's the bad guy in this match. So saying that is exactly it. He's getting the heat by saying that catchphrase because he is that. It's using that
words
guy.
like using like insider terms like babyface and promo, because like a wrestler shouldn't be saying, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the ring and cut a promo now." Like wrestlers, like the characters don't cut a promo. The characters speak how they're feeling. You know, we call it a promo.
I'm excited for the match. I just was like, I guess they didn't know what else to do. Like, I don't know how more heated they could get this feud, but I guess the story now is which side is Proud and Powerful on, because they could probably interfere in the outcome of the match. Like whether they turn on Eddie or they turn on Jericho. But I feel like it's back, like them turning on Jericho is almost like a babyface reaction. So it should be either Jericho needs to come out the heel again, I think. Go turn back into a heel.
Well, I took from this, it was like Santana and Ortiz fist bumped him because it's like, hey, look, we had our match. We settled it. We fought. We got that over with. We're still boys. And Jericho just, from the promo being the biggest star and like saying, I've always got your back. It's going to be Jericho turning on them rather than them turning on him, I think.
Yeah,
like,
he's got to be the
Inner
bad
Circle
guy.
feels pretty done.
Yeah, for sure. We go to CM Punk, who comes out suspiciously wearing white. He says, I had a lot of thinking. I had to wake up, and he cuts a sincere promo here where he's saying, am I the bad guy? Before last week, I knew Max was the bad guy, referring to MJF's incredible baby face promo last week. He says, but last week, Max bared his soul that I didn't think he had. And I feel like I'm being gaslit, but I don't think he's lying. I think he's telling the truth. Just like how there's a photo of me on the internet with Steve Austin. And then he kind of goes into some other things, but he feels like he's like kind of losing it. But I feel like he's doing it on purpose here, where he's he's kind of like can't hold things together and feels a little lost in what he's saying. And he says, hurt people hurt people.
Well, he brought up Austin because he brought up him walking out like Punk did. And
Right.
like he has that same photo with Austin as MJF has with Punk. So when Austin walked out, Punk didn't feel betrayed like Max does. He was like, and even says the line, taking his ball and go home like lesser people, which I took as a dig at The Rock, because that was his thing. When Austin left, he said those lines. So I took this as, yeah, like I had a hero, it was Stone Cold Steve Austin. I had a photo with him as a kid, but I didn't feel betrayed by him. But then I've done shitty things as well.
He says, am I the one to blame? Like, did I do this? Am I the reason MJF is like this way? Am I Dr. Frankenstein? Like, did I do this? He says, everyone has to take responsibility, but there's really like nothing that I can say. And he's kind of losing his words again. And this is when MJF comes out, but no music, and just walks out. And he's standing there with Punk as Punk continues and says, I used to be like you. I used to be full of hate. I've done horrible things. Talks about, making legends bleed, making alcoholics drink alcohol and choking on it, and taking dead people's ashes, and mocking wrestlers' addictions and until they get fired. And he says, if you continue doing this, it'll burn you up. He says, I woke up today and I thought, are you the good guy? And I wondered if I was. Well, I had to figure out on a good day. I'm trying. I sure am trying. So he goes for the handshake to MJF when MJF is a little reluctant, but he goes in and he hugs CM Punk, and Punk is taken aback. So then he finally embraces the hug, and they're hugging for real. And then right after that, after embracing, they're staring at each other. And I don't know about you, but I was screaming at my TV, kick him in the dick.
Yeah,
and
we all saw it coming.
MJF kicks him in the dick and beats the shit out of CM Punk, makes him bleed, takes off his jacket, revealing that he's got a white t-shirt with the photo of him and Punk on the shirt. And he is making Punk bleed here as he says on the mic, you stupid, stupid old man. Don't you know I'm a snake? He says, the greatest trick is convincing the world. The devil told us the greatest trick is convincing the world he didn't exist. I'm going to show you, mindless sheep, that I am the devil himself. And then they have Wardlow and Sean Spears just hanging Punk here, who is just a bloody mess. He looks like the devil himself here because he is just red. Like, this is a lot of blood. It's all over him. It's all over MJF. He is being hung here. Very similar to what we've seen with CM
Punk like Shane McMahon versus Steve Blackman, wasn't it? At SummerSlam 1999. SummerSlam 2000. It was just like that.
Not quite, because there was a lot of blood here. Like Punk's face was bleeding like so badly. I love the photos afterwards that we've seen, but I love this. So they just leave this guy bleeding, and of course MJF had Punk's number and tricked him and everything. But this feud is like been just chef's kiss for me. This is like Hangman Kenny level of a feud. The last match that they had on Dynamite I thought was awesome, but this feud, last week's promo and this promo, the match is going to be crazy. I'm super excited, but this feud is top notch.
Yeah, I thought this was awesome. I loved I love Punk struggling with how he's kind of created this monster that people aren't like born evil, that his actions were what created this almost. I'm so happy that they didn't do the swerve last week, because I think if they did it last week, it would have made everything that MJF said up to that point seem like a lie. And I think in this story, giving it a week's break, we've established that, and Punk like acknowledging it as well, it makes it, everything MJF said last week was true. Like, that was all true. He believes all of that. He was, bullied at a kid, was looking forward to seeing Punk, did feel ultimately let down. It's just the he's gone so far now. He's such a bad guy now that he just won't forgive, and he's embraced being the devil. I loved it. The beatdown was awesome. The visual of the blood and him sort of being strung up was great. I think this match is going to be really good and puts the heat back in it. You needed something to happen. You couldn't like have this promo from last week and then go to a dog collar match. It would feel cruel, you know. Whereas
no, they had to have planned this out. Yeah, this was really, just genius.
Yeah, they've just knocked this out of the park. This feud.
We've just been like conditioned by other stuff. Just that wrestling just got really soft, but you can still have just awesome storylines like this, like so intricate. It's almost like some comic book superhero shit. Like, you know, like origin story of MJF is like that he loved Punk, and now you knew that they planned it. Like he delivered on that promo last week that Punk had to like be suckered in here. But yeah, I mean, what a top 10 wrestling kick to the dicks. I think
and
kicks
I think
to the
also
dick.
this kind of more mature Punk, it works with, like, he acknowledges
old
it.
man
he's
Punk.
Like last week he's like, you're not fucking with me, this is real, this is true. And even hear him going, and I kind of feel like I'm being gaslit, but like I kind of acknowledge my faults. I acknowledge that I was did shitty things and was a shitty person. And he's it just so works in this kind of post first retirement CM Punk that he's like grown up a bit, and he's trying to look out for this kid. He doesn't want to see MJF become him and do these awful things and lose his passion and leave and let someone else down and turn someone else into an evil person. Like I think it works so well. This is honestly this is the hottest match for Revolution.
Oh, 100%. Especially going into it with after watching this show, it's like, oh yeah, this has them. I mean, look at all this blood. The pictures of CM Punk afterwards looking like, okay, I see you. I'm gonna get you. If you make me bleed like that, no one makes me bleed my own blood. And I saw that Wei Ting Post Wrestling posted something on Twitter. It was the old CM Punk promo from like Ring of Honor when Punk originally turned heel then. So it's actually the same line, like the Kaiser Sose thing,
right? Okay.
About the devil and all that stuff. So MJF clearly again showing more Ring of Honor like throwback there. But even if you didn't know that, it sounds so sinister anyways. So and he did sound sinister. You stupid old man. MJF is the big, like there's MJF is the best bad guy in wrestling, and then like I don't even know who's a second because they're so far down. Like there's no one who's as big as the bad guy right now. Like I know WrestleMania is around the corner. I can't think of someone who's getting as big as heat as this guy. No. Just like in general, he just is the heat seeker. Like his finishing move that he hit Punk with, that pile driver, which was nasty. So yeah, super excited for this match.
I like he had Sammy and Darby run out for the save, and then Sting just strolling behind them like, oh, I guess we got to come and help. He didn't even bother bringing his bat this time. He's just like, yep, and I'm here. You all right,
good
Punk?
To see.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's good to see
finally. A bit late this time.
Finally, someone saved him, and like you figure like it would be those guys because they have teamed and stuff, but. Yeah, you see, like this guy's been brutally beaten up. There's blood everywhere, and they're running out. And Sting's like, "Oh, well, I think they've run off now. We're okay. He's okay. Everyone's okay." And that's the picture I've been seeing online now. People are sharing. It's like Sting and Punk just chilling ringside, but Sting just standing next to Punk who's bleeding everywhere. Great stuff. I love wrestling. We go to Keith Lee, who's backstage. He's not wrestling, but if you're like, why isn't he wrestling? He will be on Sunday, but he also apparently will be on Rampage. I'm not sure if that means he's going to be wrestling, but Ricky Starks interrupts him again. So he says that he's going to show up on Rampage, and Starks says Rampage is Stark country when Hobbs says, and I'm the mayor, which was weird. And then Keith says, okay, cool. I'll see you Friday.
So, are they having a match on Rampage?
I don't know if that means they're having a match or a face down, or if Hobbs wants to face him. Like I don't know, but
I already don't care about Keith Lee.
They didn't do a good job so far. Like the ladder match has got a bang, but I feel like you could have had him wrestle some good matches. They didn't even let him do that yet.
Yeah, I just think again he's he just seems not bothered. He's just stood backstage, hanging out. He's wearing his cap. He doesn't really... I think they've dropped the ball. So, I mean, sure, they can heat this guy up again, but he had that big debut, seemed like such a big deal that Twitter was going mad, and already I'm just like, yeah, and it's just Keith Lee chilling around backstage, doesn't even get a promo in. He goes to speak and just gets interrupted by these guys. It's, they do this a lot, and I've lost interest with this guy already, and I feel this has happened so many times with Keith Lee, where I get all excited, then I'm like, nah.
Yeah, no, I think they should have had him wrestle again. I know, not just to qualify into this match, but just to wrestle.
Like
we've
had the Wardlow, like, and I love the Wardlow squashes, the Powerbomb Symphony. It's great, but we've had that every week, it seems, like without fail for a couple of months now. Like, you could have had a break this week of having Wardlow do this and just have Keith Lee, do his Big E and Beals and just squash guys. I think it would have heated him up a little bit more. I don't think Wardlow needs as much because he's featured a lot, because we see him with MJF, we see him in backstage segments, we've seen him in these squashes. Yeah, and sure, okay, he's wrestling on Rampage, but it is the B show, like we don't catch it every week, and we're pretty into this, but it's Friday night, it's on an awkward time, and there's a lot of wrestling on. So I think if you want to highlight a guy, you do need them to be in action on Dynamite, especially going into the pay-per-view, if you consider them a big deal.
Yeah, I know that's so they're saying Keith Lee is in action, is on what's happening on Rampage. So it's like, okay, I'm assuming they're doing that. But yeah, I think you could have had that in that slot. But I just like to see people wrestle. That's what I watch this for. And he's just there barely talking because he keeps getting interrupted. So either he wins this tournament and stuff, like, I don't know, tournament ladder match, but yeah.
Are they adding any more people? Because
I heard they are. So, I mean,
yeah, I thought there was going to be 6. And then I think Siino told us that on Dark Elevation, they said there's going to be 7. But then when they showed the graphic, they didn't have like the silhouetted extra figures. It just had the 5. So
okay, so what I'm seeing is Ethan Page or Christian Cage versus TBD. So I mean, that means Ethan Page or Christian is in this match, and then someone else is also.
So is that a Rampage match? I guess.
I guess so. Yeah. So I guess Lee wins that match to get a shot at the title, win the title. I don't know. We go to Anna Jay and Tay Conti. Anna, Ty. Yeah. They're backstage and they're talking about Ty and her match against Jade for the TBS title. Or did I skip over something first? Oh, I totally skipped over the match. I went to the next promo. Well, we can talk about that after. Well, we go to our next match, which is the women's match, which is Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter versus Mercedes Martinez and Thunder Rosa. So Britt and Thunder have their match this Sunday, which I feel doesn't have quite the heat. I think they kind of dropped the ball on that. I think they had an opportunity to kind of make that a pretty big storyline, and I feel like there's a bit of a disconnect.
They completely fumbled this, considering they had, going into that Lights Out match, they had a pretty hot feud that had lasted, like, from what I remember, quite a few weeks, and then we've been waiting for the rematch since then, and we haven't really had it much in ring segments at all. We've just had a couple of things backstage with Britt. Like, Britt has felt very much in the background recently, where she was a very prominent character. She's kind of slipped in my eyes, and yeah, I'm sure the match is going to be great. Like, their last match was killer, but maybe they're relying on that a bit too much. I do feel this should have been heated up a bit more.
Yeah, than just this. And I think the crowd were super into the beginning of the show. They were super into Danielson and Christopher Daniels. They were super into that battle royal, I thought. And then they were kind of iffy on the Punk thing until they figured out what was kind of happening. And then they were super into it. And then I just think they were tired. And then this match kind of happened because there was this this whole match was designed for this Thunder Rosa Britt Baker final stare down where Thunder gets her alone and then actually pins her in this match. And the crowd just weren't really super into it. So I think it kind of they wanted that to be this like, okay, well, like Thunder beat her so she can beat her this week. But instead, maybe you need to focus a bit more on this story than just do these matches. So it kind of got a little bit weird with bringing in Mercedes.
I don't feel we should have had this match. Like,
yeah.
I think an in-ring segment, like a promo segment, would have been way more beneficial in the ring with these two. Because now with Rosa getting the pin on Britt, like, I don't know, I've watched wrestling for a while. I feel this is Britt's winning this then. You know, it's the go-home show. Thunder's got 2 wins over her now. I feel, I really feel the steam's been let out of this one. And I found this match pretty boring, to be honest. I was very checked out.
I didn't even go through it. I mean, we get Britt Baker hitting Sling Blade. We get Thunder Rosa throwing Hayter around. So Mercedes and Thunder keep tagging in and out, and they're beating up Hayter, not letting her tag Britt when she finally does and gets a heel kick to Mercedes. There's super kicks to Mercedes, and finally Thunder gets tagged in, and that's when she eventually beats up Britt, hits the Fire Thunder driver, and pins her. So do we have a new champion? We'll do predictions after, but I wasn't really feeling this match either. I think you could have had the storyline would have helped the story more with some story other than just a match.
Yeah.
We go to, I just so badly wanted to talk, I guess, about this promo. Anna Jay and Ty, they're going to face Jade, meaning Ty's going to face Jade on Rampage. When people just like interrupting people here, because in walks Jade, who says, "Bitch, shut up. Bitch, shut up. No one cares about that karate shit." Probably line of the week. There was a lot of good lines on this show, but wow, no one cares about that karate shit, and bitch, shut up. Mark Sterling says Jade's gonna beat you faster than you can say jujitsu, and then they walk off. So they're giving Tay this opportunity, but Jade knows that she's gonna make waste of her. But I always say, like, Jade, it comes to the wrestling, I'm like, the wrestling's still not
just give this a squash on the night. Have Jade just kill her in 30 seconds. It's gonna be a long show. There's a lot of matches booked.
Wait, is this on the pay-per-view?
This is on the pay-per-view, yeah.
This isn't on the pay-per-view.
I'm pretty sure this is on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, it is. Okay,
please have this just as a quick squash. There's even less story going into this than the Britt and Thunder Rosa one.
Wow, it's on the pay-per-view. That's crazy.
I don't really want to see these two have a long match.
Well, there's another match that's added, but it's on the pre-show or the buy-in, which is Chris Statlander, who's still beefing with her ex-friend, I guess, Layla Hirsch. And Statlander is like, "Yo, you keep blaming me for winning all the time." And Layla says, "No, actually, I'm mad that you said that, my parents gave me up for adoption is because I suck and stuff. So actually, I'm kind of mad at you." So really, this is a double turn, I think, because Statlander's coming off like such a terrible person since that promo where she's like, "Yo, I'm glad you're fucking. I'm glad."
It's funny though. It's like Layla's like, "No, I've only been a dick because you said like I suck and that's why my parents put me up for adoption." And Chris should be like, "Well, I only said you suck and that's why your parents put you up for adoption because you've been a dick recently." Like, it's what came first, the chicken or the egg. Yeah, I can't say I've cared about this feud at all. I think actually having these 3 women's segments back to back, like, it's great that we're doing more than one story in the women's division. That's an improvement, but unfortunately, they're all pretty terrible right now. And I think having them all back to back really highlighted that it's not strong.
Yeah,
like this Layla Hirsch Chris Statlander thing. Suddenly they were best friends out of nowhere, and they're telling us in the tag match when Hirsch is kind of just pissed off at Statlander for no reason. I don't really care for this. Sure, to throw something on the buy-in and give it a little bit of story going in, fine. Like, it's not a big match that's going on the main show, but yeah, I do think they still need work on this women's division because I thought this was all very weak this week.
Yeah, I wasn't super into it. I am a fan of Statlander. I do think that she could be a bigger star here, but not from this feud particular. But hey, I think the match could be good, so I'll give it a shot. We go to our next match, which is Wardlow, who's in action. Not a great time for. I don't know if he's going to change the lyrics to his song too, right? Is that why Ciampa changed the lyrics to his song? It was too violent, too war-y.
Maybe, yeah.
Because this guy's song is literally "This is war." Not good timing. Well, Wardlow power bombs a guy.
I mean, no, but we're talking about
I
wrestling, you know, like no. I know, but like it's something they do. Like Raw is war. Like in 2001, they got rid of the war thing, but it's like, I mean, this is
war,
people fighting each other. This is what the sport is about. Like
this is war.
Yeah,
this is war. Cezar Bononi gets power bombed a few times, and Wardlow wins. After the match, Shawn Spears goes to take the heat himself by using the chair, but Wardlow stops him. It's a serious stare down. And then they go to break. What do we think of this?
Spears backs up.
He's like, whoa.
He gets a little spooked by Wardlow here, and he's like, oh, all right.
So Wardlow's like, I don't need you.
I thought this was pretty impressive because Cezar Bononi's not a small guy. He's pretty big, and being hit with these multiple power bombs. We've seen the symphony a few times now, but I thought actually on Cezar Bononi it was pretty impressive. And I like that they're pushing the story further with Wardlow actually having enough of Shawn now.
Yeah, and in a second or two, because there is a promo for the spooky tattoo men, as we call them, the House of Black, and now there's all three of them where they're talking, and it's Malachi, Brody, and Buddy, and they're talking about judgment. But you know something about judgment, Davie? We don't cast
assumptions. I didn't write down the promo, but yeah.
They said we don't cast judgment. Yeah.
Judgment. Oh.
Yeah. They're basically stealing Briggs and Jensen's bit from NXT 2.0.
They are. They're finishing each other's
sentences.
Yeah.
Because we are the House of
Black.
We are the knights who say
knee.
We are the knights. Yeah, the visuals are cool, but yeah, they're not even on the pay-per-view.
They were saying stuff about Penta and how that they've bought another side out of him, and that's what the House of Black does. They draw the darkness out of people. I think these guys suck. They're the Ascension to me. Sorry, they're now spooky Briggs and Jensen Ascension. Hey, that rhymed. But yeah, I'm not into this at all. Did they bring out Penta's dark side, or did they just get Penta to find Alex Abrahantis a cheap Halloween costume last week? There's nothing different about Penta's style. He lost.
These guys could.
These guys suck.
I guess it's just to remind us that they showed up last week, but they're not on the pay-per-view at all. So I mean, they could have just given them a little time to let that breathe. But yeah, I think all three are really good wrestlers. But I hate the stuff that got me over Bray Wyatt real quick with the whole Bray Wyatt. Even before the Fiend, is he would just say a lot of the stuff is rambling almost. You're saying a lot of the same stuff, and just to do the promo. It's okay, did you even need it right here? I don't know if you did.
And it's just cheesy. The finishing.
Yeah, it's not. The finishing each other's sentences. It's so lame.
I don't know. I just feel every week I see them, I find them less and less cool.
Yeah, and they are cool, but when they do stuff like that, it's no, Briggs and Jensen does that, so maybe you shouldn't do that. They need someone to tell them that's Briggs and Jensen's bit. So, we go backstage. Wardlow is there with Shawn Spears. MJF walks in and says, "Hey, War Dog. Hey, buddy. If you win the TNT title ladder match, and if you beat the TNT champion and you become TNT champion, you can keep the title. It's on me." And Wardlow's like, "Oh, all right, cool." And MJF, kind of under his breath, but not really, says, "It's not like you're going to win it anyway." So MJF walks off, but this time Wardlow says, "Yeah, because I'm too busy making sure you're winning." When MJF turns around and slaps Wardlow and reminds him, "You work for me. You don't work for AEW. I hired you. You work for me. I got you here. Remember who I am. So definitely the Triple H Batista like 2005 storyline vibes here. But I'm super into this. They're heating this guy up pretty good. Wardlow.
Why has Tony Khan not offered this guy a contract yet?
I imagine that's a bit. That'll be such a big bit. Yeah,
right. We've got to have
Not
the graphic
Wardlow.
show up one day. Like MJF finally fires this guy, and then suddenly Wardlow is
funny.
all elite.
You're telling me this guy doesn't work for Tony Khan? He works for MJF. I mean, they've mentioned that before, but yeah, it's pretty funny. It's like when this happens, you got to get TK to sign him.
Yeah,
you got that. You got to do that spot. It'd be pretty funny.
Tony Khan has a big announcement next week, and it's
sign
like
Wardlow.
to announce our new signing, and it's just Wardlow walks out.
I think this is like a super red herring. I think we're not getting Wardlow turning on MJF. Like I feel like the turn would be crazy if he helps Punk beat MJF because he decides like I don't want to do this. But I think you could stretch this even longer and further. I think MJF should be champion when this kind of thing finally happens.
No, I agree. I think you can go back and forth with this and tease the tension for a while. Like I assume I think MJF's going to win this, and I can see MJF being Hangman's challenger at
Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
And I think you should have Wardlow still in MJF's corner during that time.
I agree. Yeah, for sure. Well, our main event tonight is the Dark Order, meaning Hangman Page, the world champ, and his pals Johnny Hungy, Johnny Silver, and Alex Reynolds versus Adam Cole and reDRagon, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly. Silver and Reynolds are in. They're doing some fast tag team moves on reDRagon. It's cool. It was cool to see Hangman kind of wrestling with Kyle and Bobby here because, they've been wrestling on different shows the past little while. So that is always cool. Finally, both Adams are in the ring when Cole is in control and he tries to go for the Panama, but Hangman eventually gets out of it where Cole keeps trying to dip out whenever Hangman gains the control. But during picture-in-picture, the bad guys are beating down on Silver here. Again, when Hangman tags in and Cole tags in, or sorry, it's not even tagging. It's just the trio rules. If you leave, the other guy can come in. And Cole, again, is scared of Hangman, so he leaves. So Hangman starts beating up Fish and hits his follow-away slam and then the Pescata to the outside onto Bobby there. Finally, Cole starts attacking Hangman when they're all fighting. All six guys are fighting. There's the Ushigoroshi, the Sushi Goroshi suplex one. There's the last shot. There's huge lariat from Page. There's then super kick from Cole. The other guys get sent out, leaving Cole and Reynolds in the ring, which means it's all about the boom. Cole hits that running Shining Wizard to the back of the head and wins the match. And after the match, they go to beat down on Reynolds, but Hangman goes in for the save, but they beat up him. They tape him with duct tape to the ropes as they beat up Silver. They hit the Panama on Reynolds, and Cole holds up the title and says, you will never get this again or whatever. Says, I'm going to be the champion, and actually gets headbutted by Hangman here, which was pretty funny. And Cole sells it like he's furious. So then he starts beating up on him, just kind of leaving him there as they celebrate. But yeah, that's Dynamite goes off the air. I had big issue right away. Sorry, but JR was plugging the show and like, hey, see you Sunday. But he was as excited as I am right now. Like he was like not excited. He's like, well, we'll see you Sunday. It's going to be great. It's going to be so much fun. I'm like, come on, if you got to tell me it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the same thing. I miss Taz. Like I was struggling through this show today. I think bit like the women's tag and that casino battle royal kind of like I struggled with. The Punk segment energized me again. I was like, oh, this is great. And then you had the women's tag after, and just like I struggled with the show this week. And having someone on commentary who sounds like they're struggling through it as well doesn't help. You need that energy, and especially going into a pay-per-view, it should be, he used to do it, we'll see you in Orlando. Revolution this Sunday. Get your ticket. He was going, oh, it's fight.com or no, it's Fight TV. Oh yeah, fight.tv. Yeah. Gotta love that Fight app to watch the pay-per-view. I'm like, Jesus Christ, JR. Like, what are they paying you for? No, I agree. He was extra bad this week, I thought.
Like, he made me laugh with the "yo, listen" line earlier, but I think he was a little tired or something, but he just didn't sell the ending angle, because it's not like it was bad. I just think, like, I don't know what else we could do with seeing MJF just destroy Hangman. Like, that's taken all the attention. So, I mean, here, just Cole being Adam Cole was fine. I thought the match was fine. It didn't blow me away or anything, but yeah.
No, I agree. I kind of feel they have dropped the ball with this feud a bit. Maybe it's a bit soon going to the Adam Cole feud. I don't know. The problem is a lot of the other feuds have been really hot, especially the MJF Punk one. I feel this feels maybe like the fourth hottest program, perhaps. I think it's going to be a great match. Don't get me wrong. I think when it comes to bell to bell, I think it's going to be really good. But it's been the problem with a lot of this Adam Page reign. It's the actual, like, the Lance Archer, the feud. I loved the match. The feud I didn't care for. And I kind of feel the same here. Yeah, I almost felt I could have done with last week's show being the go-home show. Aside from that the punk angle tonight we needed. But everything else, I felt way more hyped about Eddie versus Jericho after last week's segment. I felt way more hyped about Hangman versus Cole after last week's segment. Yeah, it's... I don't know. I'm super excited for the show. I think on paper this card looks fucking awesome. I think it's absolutely stacked. But this week, I felt the show left me a bit cold. I don't think any of the wrestling... There was good wrestling. There's always good wrestling. But none of the wrestling I'd say, oh, you've got to go out of your way to watch that match from this week. And I don't think the promos delivered as well as they have the last 2 weeks. I think we've had a run of, like, really strong shows from AEW, and I didn't think it quite delivered as a go-home show for me.
I think the announcement thing is just weird because they have this big pay-per-view to promote, but then they announced this. But, like, that's still just a huge announcement, and that was pretty hype. So I did feel pretty into the show as soon as they kicked off Daniels. And I think Danielson and Christopher Daniels did put on a pretty good match that I would be happy to have watched if I went to the show. But then I think the highlight was the MJF. I was higher on this show than you for sure, but the highlight was 100% again MJF, the CM Punk feud. I'm just so into, like, they sold me the first time, and they definitely did an even better job this time. They're promoting it's going to be pretty bloody. They're promoting this pay-per-view is going to be pretty awesome. Should we go through, like, the card and kind of give some predictions here? Because we mentioned Layla Hirsch and Chris Statlander are going to be on that pre-show, but they also added Hook versus QT Marshall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to see Hook. I'm excited to see some Hook. He's definitely winning the match.
I think it's got to be Hook. And when it comes to Statlander and Layla Hirsch, I just want them to be friends again, to be honest. That's all I want from that match.
World peace.
Do you remember when they were just best friends, those two?
Best friends.
Miss those days, yeah.
What about this match? I just learned it was on the show. Jade Cargill versus Ty Conti.
I think it's got to be Jade.
What about the singles match between Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley?
I was gonna say Danielson, but then I thought the story is Mox hasn't had that win, has it? So maybe Mox. But then you've got two big feuds in a row with Danielson losing.
That's
yeah,
what he's good at.
I'm gonna go Mox.
I'm on the Danielson train. Like, he is the guy right now for me. He's making me watch every week. He is the most interesting thing in wrestling. And I think it makes more sense for him to lose the match. Like, you want to support. He's the outsider coming. Mox has been here, right? Like, he's been the AEW guy. So I feel like he needs to get that win back with that story.
But you could do Danielson wins and actually does the code of honor this time. You know,
but you could do that the other way. You could have Moxley and him, or the feud continues and, you know, Danielson attack. Like, there's so many things you could. I mean, once they teased us being friends, and having the stable with all these young lions and stuff. That sounds crazy. So, I mean, maybe we will go that route. Who knows? What about the 6-man tornado tag match? The Andrade Hardy family office. Make sure I say it properly. Meaning Andrade, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy versus Darby Allin, Sting, and Sammy.
I think this might be on the pay-per-view to set up for Jeff on Wednesday. So I think Team Sting, Darby, and Sammy has to win, which is going to send Matt into a bit of a broken meltdown. And the only way to save him is brother Jeff. He'll take the pin, get kicked out of his office, and Jeff will be there on Wednesday to pick up the pieces.
I think he needs to get kicked out. So yeah, I think it needs to happen where he's gone from this. So does that mean my big money Matt Hardy family office t-shirt's going to be worth way more money?
I guess so. Yeah.
All right, good. That's good then. That's good.
You got to wear it on Sunday to your event.
Yeah, I might. Don't tempt me. Jurassic Express versus reDRagon versus Young Bucks for the AEW tag titles, 3-way tag team match.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I could see maybe reDRagon, you know.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I think it would be interesting. Not saying that the Jurassic Express hasn't been like lackluster, but I don't think it's their fault. I think it would be a bit more interesting if they did lose it.
They've had a similar run to the Lucha Brothers actually, where they've faced a bunch of people, but there hasn't really been any kind of interesting feud within that run.
This match should be good though. This should be crazy.
I
this on paper, this could be a show stealing match as well. Like a lot of these matches we're talking about could be, but I'm on the same page. I think reDRagon or Jurassic Express for sure. Like if Jurassic Express wins,
opens up more interesting things.
Yeah,
I think you could have Santana Ortiz reDRagon, which feels fresh. You know, that could be your next feud. reDRagon the Bucks in the singles at some point.
FTR reDRagon
FTR as well, yeah.
Okay, what about Chris Jericho, Eddie Kingston?
Oh, it's got to be Eddie.
I think it's got to be Eddie Kingston as well. Unless Jericho does something to cheat and then wins the match and then afterwards goes to beat down Eddie even more. And then that's when Proud and Powerful are like, no, we've had enough. We're with Eddie kind of thing is what I see. Keith Lee, Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, Orange Cassidy, or Ethan Page, or Christian. I don't know. There's a lot of people. The face of the Revolution thing.
Keith Lee.
Keith Lee. Yeah, I think so too. We're on the same page here. Unless you put it on War Dog, just because. But yeah,
that could be interesting. Wardlow.
It would be cool. Yeah,
I think it would be more interesting. But I think if you don't put it on Keith Lee, I think you've massively just
butchered it.
Yeah, made a mess of this guy's debut.
Okay, what about Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa? Ask me this question a month ago, I would have said Thunder Rosa. I don't know.
A day ago, I'd have said Thunder Rosa. But now I'm like, maybe. I
think Britt retains. I just don't know who else she would face, so maybe it is time to give it to Thunder.
What is interesting, though, is Deonna Purrazzo is the ROH Women's Champion right now, but I believe she's contracted to Impact, so I don't know where that lies, but you could always do, I know her and Britt have wanted that match, so that could be, if you'll have Britt lose the title, she could always challenge for the ROH title at kind of Supercard of Honor against Deonna, maybe, which would be cool. But no, I'm leaning to Britt getting a win back and retaining this thing. But I don't see who's next, really.
Yeah, that's the thing. I just don't know if there's any other big challengers. CM Punk, MJF, dog collar match.
I think MJF beats Punk again.
I could see Punk getting the win back because I don't think it would affect MJF, but MJF is just on this crazy, it's just so the story makes sense if he beats him again. says he's basically killed that legend. He finally got to beat the guy he used to look up to, and then goes for the title. I think would make the most sense for Double or Nothing. But either way, like even if he loses, he could still go for the title eventually. But MJF. But I wouldn't put it past to see Punk get his win back over MJF to make it 1-1.
Yeah, I'd have MJF win, and I think MJF should beat Hangman at Double
Me
or
too.
Nothing.
100%. Yeah. And that leads us to Hangman versus Adam Cole for the world title. And I think we kind of just said that Hangman wins, but this match could be good too. This could be like a match. Maybe it doesn't have quite the story that we think it kind of deserves, which they do a good job on those like Road 2 shows. So I am going to check them out because I do think they would put a lot of cool stuff in them. So I am interested in watching that. But this match, I think Hangman and Cole will be probably really good.
Oh yeah, I think so too. Cole on a big stage always delivers. Hangman on a big stage always delivers. I think.
But Hangman.
Sorry?
But Hangman's winning.
But Hangman's winning. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Unless you swerve us and you have Punk win the dog collar and Cole win and go that way. But
there you go.
And you've always got the thought Kenny coming back with like Cole being the new leader of the group with the title maybe. But no, I do lean more towards Hangman.
Well, there you have it. There's our predictions for Revolution. Again, come hang out with us if you are in either the London area or the Toronto area, because we will be doing a little bit of a watch party for that. But we will be doing a review of Revolution as well on Monday, the 7th at 11 a.m. Eastern time. We're going to record our Revolution review. We're going to record it live on Twitch like we do every BDElite, but we will put it up on the free feed, this feed right afterwards. So look for our review of Revolution Monday. If you're the podcast type, well, it will be available. But if you want to hang out during the day on Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern time, we will be recording that show on twitch.tv/upnextpodcast. And what other stuff? Did we promote everything? The Patreon, everyone go check everything.
So, yeah.
Appreciate you guys listening and supporting. You may have noticed we have ads now. We're in the big leagues. We're making the dollar bills. So we appreciate you still sticking with us and listening and supporting. But we'll catch you later this week. We appreciate it. At Up Next Podcast as always, and join the Facebook group, Up Next Group, for all updates and everything. But thank you. That's it. That's all. I am myself, Braden Herrington. I'm on Twitter and I'm on Instagram at the Brady.
And I am at Davie Portman.
Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And long live Ring of Honor.
Ahoy!
First time in a long time, but it seems like just yesterday when we were side by side. Beast mode, no one's blocking our way. These other guys tried it, but them man ain't got the skills of Braden and Davie, brazen and raging, bringing you the thrills and spills. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet, Brady DVP, the BDElite. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet, Brady DVP, the BDElite.